Okay, had somebody on the Vegas forum recently ask about doing a reticle sort of effect similar to this, and was wondering how they could do that in Vegas Pro without any add-on packs. Of course, the simplest thing to do is if you have something like Boris, you can do this exact effect, or you could go in and make a more complicated effect. Let's say, for example, that you have no money. Maybe you got Vegas in a humble bundle for 50 bucks, which would be a steal. I've done that myself in the past. So what you could do is come in and create some vectors using a number of different tracks. Okay, so as I say here, this is kind of a bad art example. I'm not the best artist in the world, but this is the sort of thing that you can do using just Vegas Pro. I'm not going to go into every little nitty-gritty detail on how to create these elements, but they're literally just tracks with different pieces of media. We have the eyeball here, which is just an image I downloaded off the internet. We have a color gradient box here. This checkerboard is just a lame dotted or dashed circle. Then we have the piece that is the inner red circle, which you can't see there. You can see it now. And we composite these because I also wanted that to be blinking. And I'm using a simple method here of putting just a black square over it periodically. So let's go ahead and play that from the beginning for a moment, just so you get a look at the difference between using something like Boris, which isn't playing back great right now because I'm running Open Broadcaster at the same time, or my bad art example. The inner circle is just a combination of two masks. The outer one is like you might use for any masking purpose. The inner one is a negative mask, so that allows you to create just the tiniest of lines. All of the circles here use the same method for that. To make it blink again, I created these black solid colors. They're just a few frames long. These are 5 frames if I remember correctly. And then I just advanced 5 frames, pasted a new one in, and once I had a collection of them, I copied them all and just pasted them until I had this cycle. These are composited because I want what's below them to show through. This one is set to screen. This one is just a normal, but being a compositing child, they operate together. So when I play, all it does is make the red circle blink rather than hiding everything on every channel below that. Okay, so there's one other wrinkle. You can create masks for anything. The square mask is just a gradient. You can put any sort of artwork back there and mask it off to make that look better. Now, one glitch that you'll face very early on is that if you have a circle, like in this green dashed circle, that's a combination of masks. Let me show you that. So here's green circle 2 is this one. I won't get into the position yet. This is 4 masks. It's 2 for the circle and then 2 rectangles to further mask out the circle and create these dashed lines or gaps. Now, this had to be created using a different piece of art, specifically this channel called Mask Creator. So on this channel, we have a checkerboard. Let's go in here and show the mask. Checkerboard pattern, and that's simply so that you can find the center of the screen, because what we're going to do is create, or what you should do is create the mask so that it's centered on the screen, because if you want this to rotate, you can't rotate the mask, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So instead of rotating the mask, what we do is we create the mask that we're interested in on this checkerboard shape, then we copy that to the clipboard, come down here to where we really want it, and then selectively paste attributes and just paste the pan crop settings, and that'll paste your mask. Now once you've done that, then we can come in here and mute that, and we'll undo some of these. Okay, and then we come in here and we paste that, and then what you need to do is go into the position and then set keyframes and actually rotate the event pan crop window, the position window. And because you really only have a choice to rotate it around the center if you want to keep things looking correct, that's how you do that. Now, if you try to rotate the mask, you will get this. And if you watch that green circle, it's being squished, especially if you rotate it a lot. Okay, the reason that mask rotation doesn't work is the way that Vegas handles, I think, the bounding box. Basically, if you come in here and you try to rotate this shape, it resizes it as you're rotating. Now, what's interesting is as you're doing this, so for example, if we started over from scratch with this circle, which I'm not going to do right now, you can see it for yourself if you work with the masks, is you won't notice that shrinking and growing. It won't happen. It only happens after the fact. There's something wonky going on with their math. Okay, so having said all that, we disable that, we re-enable the pan crop rotation, and we end up with something that I wouldn't want to use. I'd want to devote a whole lot more time in getting the artwork just right. Now, having said all that, you could very easily have something that doesn't completely suck if you get rid of the outer box and you get rid of the outer circle and you just limit it to the green and red circles. That's not completely horrible. You can modify the rotation all you want. You can modify the blinking all you want. Now, if you want to go another level, there are a ton of image overlay sources available on YouTube. So I will show you an example of that now. I'll have links to the videos down in the description, but you can find all these videos that people have put together that contain lots of graphic elements. I guess they're mainly intended for people who don't know how to use or don't have access to After Effects or other tools or the plugin packs. There's just tons of plugin packs that you could use. What you can do is go onto YouTube and look for video editing overlay. And what you'll find are several videos that are just nothing more than a sequence of different effects that you can grab and then use in your own videos. And the way you do that is you come in here and you find a graphic element that you like, clip it out, and then layer it on top of your own image. So here's the eye again. We have the basic reticle in the center, and then we have a little bit of text off to the right, a little bit of text off to the left. I'll go ahead and enable these. And then an outside border just to add more detail. And then just a graphic that adds a little more color or texture to the overall look. And then finally, some text that says access denied. Okay, so if we come in here to the beginning and play, you can see all the graphic elements animated at the same time. Now, one thing you'll have to keep in mind is sometimes on these videos, black is not black. So for example, if I solo this one, you can see at this point that black looks pretty black. Now, I do have some other levels going on that you can ignore. But what I had to do on all of these events is come in here and add a Vegas levels, because otherwise what I get is an incomplete screen. Because each one of these tracks is set to screen. So basically, if it's black, it shouldn't show. But because this isn't full black, you would end up with the underlying image being washed out. You can see signs of that here where that line is. So basically, by adding the levels, let's get the right effect, and making sure black is black, then we get rid of that effect. So that's one thing you'll have to be aware of. Otherwise, it's really just a matter of layering them on top of each other as much as you want, setting the mode to screen, or if you want a slightly different effect, you can do all sorts of weird things. It just depends on your aesthetic, what you're going for. That's basically it. Those are a couple of different ways that you can do a reticle effect, or really indeed any sort of overlay effect with very little money. So if you would like some more information, or if you would like a blow-by-blow tutorial of how to create either the graphic elements or going through every part of adding image overlays to your project, leave me a comment and I'll put that in the queue. Thanks.